Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be comparing a 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500 High Country to a 2022 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali. Now, I picked out these two specific trucks because they both have the same powertrain, and their sticker prices are actually very close to each other as well, so this is as comparable as it gets. And in today's video, we will decide if you should go for the Silverado or the Sierra. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to mention, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into the review. Starting things off under the hood of the Denali, we have the Duramax diesel under the hood here. So it is a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 277 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. And yeah, definitely a solid powertrain. Now popping over to the Silverado, same exact powertrain. Same exact power figures. And so again, like I said, I picked two trucks with the same powertrain because I figured that would make things the most equal. And the cool thing about this powertrain too is you can actually get pretty solid fuel economy, average in the mid-20s with this powertrain. So it's another big benefit to it. Anyways, popping back over to the Denali. You can see first off with the hood how it's kind of like flat there in the center, and then it kind of waves off to the side. And then notice there are kind of like the indentations there in the grille that looks like venting. And then you can see these C-shaped lights here for the daytime running lights, and then the LED headlamps. Definitely distinctive in how that kind of goes into the massive front grille with the GMC logo front and center. And then you can see the chrome tow hooks there at the bottom. Body painted bumper, and it's parking sensors integrated. You got fog lights there at the bottom, and definitely a distinctive upscale look. Now popping over to the High Country, more like normal Silverado from an aesthetic perspective. So you got your Duramax badge there on the side, and then you guys can see the High Country logo as well. And then look at the paint on this particular truck. I think it looks really good with the metallic flake. But notice you've got your regular new Silverado headlights with the daytime running light. You got the black accenting off to the side. And then also body painted bumpers here with parking sensors at the front end. One of the ways to tell that this is a High Country is, well, other than the High Country logo, you have that special coloration in the grille. But other than that, for a regular person, I think they're just going to see it as a normal Silverado personally. And then you can see there with the fog lights at the bottom, tow hooks, all that normal stuff. And I still think it's a good looking truck, despite saying that. And then you can see here with the tire and wheel setup with the Denali, what you're going to commonly see with the GMCs is they'll usually do like 22-inch wheels on them most of the time. And that's just, it's a larger truck, and so that just kind of makes sense to do that, and it's just like a GMC thing to do. Also, Cadillac does the same thing with their vehicles, 22s and like everything. But you can see the front suspension there, and then notice there with the fender flare, how that looks. Got your Duramax turbo diesel badge. You've got the chrome at the top of the mirror, Denali logo down below. And then this one does have power side steps. Chrome for the door handles, chrome trim around the windows. And there's your full side view. Notice it kind of has like a boxy appearance with the wheel wells because of that, unpainted fender flare. Just how that's like arched really kind of squares things off. And you can see the leaf springs there in the back. Now popping over to the Silverado, still do gigantic wheels with the High Country as well. It's just kind of a thing to do in this luxury truck segment, it seems, so that you can flash the opulence to people basically. But moving on from that, you guys can see what the coloration on the wheel looks pretty good. And then there's a quick look at the front suspension. That's all the same between both of the trucks. And then again, with that High Country logo. Power side steps with the High Country. And then you guys can see that chrome molding on the side. And then same thing with the mirror with the chrome on the top, chrome door handles. There's a lot of similarities popping up so far. And then there is your full side view. Notice it's kind of more rounded off with the design. I will say that so far I kind of prefer the front end of the GMC, but I prefer the side of the Silverado. And then you can see the leaf springs back there. And here's the key fob for the Denali. Got your drop down there for the tailgate. And popping here to the bed area, what you guys will notice is everything is already covered, so you don't have to worry about scraping exposed paint or anything like that. Got the grab handle to help out. We got the LED lights on either side. And then you can see with the power outlet as well. And then notice we got the Denali logo there at the end of the bed, and then you got your cargo camera mirror situation at the top, and then it has the multi-pro tailgate. So you've got the bed step that'll pop down. 375 pounds is the weight limit on that. And so if you're a real big boy, you probably can't use it, right? But also not power for the raising function. You have to raise it by yourself if you get the multi-pro because it's too heavy. C-shaped taillights. And then notice with the bumper steps there, and then you can see where the parking sensors at the bottom, squished exhaust tip covers. Just kind of like a GM thing to do. And yeah, you know, good looking rear end for a truck. And then popping over to the Silverado, you guys can see, again, same functionality with the key. Same key, frankly. The only difference is GMC logo versus Chevy logo on the key fob. So if you guys were wondering. But popping here into the rear, you're going to notice there's a lot of similarities. Now, this one doesn't have the multi-pro tailgate. You can get that with the Chevy. I think they call it multi-flex or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's all that matters. Power outlet in the bed. And then you've got the High Country logo there. And then notice with the cargo light and camera at the top. And since this one doesn't have the funky tailgate, it raises up by itself. So, you know, some benefits to both tailgates, right? And then finishing things up with the rest of the rear. Normal Silverado, right? You got the Silverado logo, got the High Country logo, Chevrolet stamped into the tailgate. And you can see with the body colored bumpers, and then again with the squished exhaust tips and bumper steps, all that. So a lot of similarities again with the rear end. Biggest difference really is the taillights and, you know, kind of how some of the sheet metal is shaped. Popping to the interior, this is where you guys are going to see some big differences actually. So notice the wood trim here with the Denali. Now this is a base model Denali, and the reason I picked a base model Denali is because this is the same price as a High Country. Well, that High Country. But you can see there with the leather padding, got that double stack design, and then love the look of the speaker for the sound system, Bose sound system if you're wondering. And then notice we have the behind the seat storage, nice padding, and then under seat storage as well. And you can see the grab handle popping in, and tons of room in the back. And that's just a nice thing about modern trucks. They're so spacious. Cup holders, you got heated seats down below. It's got some vents. Got your cup holder armrest set up as well, which is really nice. And then you can see going from that over to the High Country. This is where things get interesting. Power side step. We got a blue interior, so it's like a dark blue. Some people commented that they weren't so sure about this interior. It looks really good, in my personal opinion. I know I'm someone who likes funky colors, but also I think it looks great. You got the wood trim there. And you guys can see how they make it look perforated, even though it's like hard to touch. It's interesting. But yeah, I think they did a really good job with like how this is styled from a color perspective. Notice the speaker looks the same for the sound system, because it's the same sound system, hint, hint, wink, wink. And then you can see perforations in these seats. Now, I want you guys to let me know which seats you prefer, color aside. You know, in terms of the design, I think these seats look really cool with how they've been designed. And you can see all the stitching and everything throughout just to make the seats look a little bit more special. Side steps help out with getting in. Got a grab handle. And space is the same because, well, same cab, right? Got that space right there, or storage space rather. You got heated seats, cup holders, USBs, vents. And then you can see under seat storage. So that functionality part is all the same. Cup holder armrest, of course, but it's blue. And then popping back over to the Denali, you can see the power side step popping out again. Notice the wood trim there at the top. And then again, hard to the touch, which is interesting that they just, I don't know why they did that. Padding. And then notice it says Denali next to the window controls. Got your memory seat function. Just a quick look at the mirrors. And then you can see one of the speakers for the Bose sound system yet again. And then another Denali plaque. And then here's the front seat. So notice the Denali logo. And then you guys can see with the kind of stitching design and everything there in the center of the seat. And it looks great. Got your power adjustments, pedal layout down below. And then notice here with the parking brake, you got your drive mode / drive line select. So got 4-wheel high, 4-wheel auto, all that. Light controls. And then you guys can see for the heads-up display, steering wheel is power adjustable. And going back over to the High Country, you notice that we have a lot of the same stuff, except lots of blue. So again, with the wood trim, and then you can see down below that it looks like it's perforated. And then notice with the mirrors, again, High Country logo. Got all of your window controls right there. The mirrors do powerful. Then speaker for the Bose sound system. Love how that's displayed. And then notice how the blue is, you know, pretty invasive. It covers most of the door panel. That's the joke I'm trying to make. High Country logo, and then High Country in the seat. I love the contrast with this, with the blue and the brown. Just, it works. And then you can see there in the center of the seat, got power adjustments on the side as well. Pedal layout down below, pretty normal setup. And then you got the same drive mode, drive line select, and heads-up display, controls, steering wheels, power adjustable. All that is the same with both of the trucks. And, ooh, got our cool little animation that the Denali does. I really like it, actually. I think it's cool. Definitely adds some pizzazz. It's a nice stop-start button, too. It's definitely a win for the GMC as the stop-start button. But here's the steering wheel. So as you can see, you've got nice leather around the steering wheel, and then you got the stitching there in the center. Paddle shifters there on the back for the 10-speed. Then you got the radio controls. And then notice you got the controls for the center stack, voice command, phone controls, heated steering wheel, button there. You got the cruise control as well, turn signal, windshield wiper, stock, you know, all the works. And then here is the center gauge cluster, full digital gauge cluster. You can see that there's some menus you can scroll through there in the center to go through like music, navigation, all that. And then you get your drive mode select. So you have your normal, sport, and off-road that you can go between. It gives you an animation, and there's also a tow haul mode. And since it's a diesel, it'll automatically turn on the diesel exhaust brake. Heads-up display with the truck. There's a quick look at that. And then here is the center infotainment screen. So you can see with the camera system, it's really solid. So there's a bunch of different camera views that you can go between with the truck. And it shows you every single angle. And this is something that GM's just done a really good job at, is making it so they just have really practical camera systems. And then as for the rest of the screen, you got like a shortcut bar there on the side. You have the main screen. Notice the navigation can take up the whole screen, or you can have the auxiliary screen off to the side. And then notice the darker coloration with the screen for the GMC. That's something to kind of memorize for later. And then you see the stop-start button, dual zone climate controls, heated, cooled seats. And then notice all the controls down here. Main stuff, right? Tailgate drop down doesn't raise up. And then you do have hill descent control, and they can drop down all the windows at once, which is kind of an interesting GM thing. Got some extra storage space. Got the new shifter for the 10-speed automatic. And then a couple cup holders, trailer brake controls in front of the shifter. And then there's the center console. That's the padding on it. And then you can see wireless phone charger. And then there's the little storage tray. And then I like how the wood trim goes from like black to brown. That is really cool. I think it's distinctive, and I think it looks really good. And then notice with the padding on the dash how smooth it looks from an appearance standpoint, and then down below. Just looks really nice and, you know, upscale. And there's a quick look at the sunroof. And then you guys can see the power sliding window. And then, of course, we got the camera mirror. That is always a staple. Popping back into the high country, we've got another cool animation here. Let me know which animation you guys like more. I'm kind of torn. I like the forest of the high country, but I don't know. I like that mountain animation with the Denali. I think it's cool how it like zips around. I think this animation is more beautiful, but the Denali animation is just like more complex, and so that's kind of why I'm drawn to it. But anyways, you're going to notice a ton of similarities here in the interior. So first off, steering wheel is identical. Really, the only difference is the fact that you have a Chevy bow tie in the steering wheel instead of a GMC logo, basically, so, or Denali, rather. So that's the only difference. All the controls and everything are identical with both of the trucks. And then popping to the gauge cluster, same situation. So same digital gauge cluster, you can see the same bits of information with both of the trucks. Continuing along with the gauge cluster itself, some things to mention here is when you put it into all mode, just like the GMC turns on diesel exhaust brake, have the same drive modes, got a Silverado animation instead of a GMC animation on it. And so it's pretty cool. And then you guys can see with the heads-up display here, that is identical. And then notice here with the infotainment system, so same camera system. Again, you're going to see a lot of similarities with both of the trucks. And you can see all of the camera views there with the truck. And just notice there that resolution is just as good because, again, it's ultimately the same camera system. You even have a bed camera as well. And then you guys can see there with the viewpoint, super solid. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, again, it's the same screen, except notice we've got like blue highlighting instead of red, like what you have with the GMC. So that's a little bit different, but you have the same setup with the main screen, the shortcut bar, and then the auxiliary tab here off to the side. And then notice the difference with the clock, how that looks a little bit different also. I like the GMC clock a little bit more. I am partial to that. And then notice the home screen button, and then same control stack here in the center, except notice this doesn't have the hill descent, just has the window switch. So that's kind of interesting. It's a weird difference to notice. Blank switch though in the high country. And then the stop start button, and then notice the trailer brake controls in a different place. Heated, cooled seats, dual zone climate. all that normal stuff. And then you can see here with little charging ports right next to it. And then we have the same kind of like center console area, basically, a couple cup holders, got the shifter for the 10-speed automatic, that is the same. And since this doesn't have the trailer brake control behind the shifter, it just is like a little storage cubby you could use. And then look at the center console with that blue again, that is all throughout the interior. Again, really nice from a material standpoint. And then wireless phone charger, you got good storage space. And you can see a little cubby there. And then notice with the glove box setup, dual glove box. And then really like the wood trim, but notice the material on the dash and everything, the stitching and all, it doesn't look as nice as what you have in the Denali. It's padded, but it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't look, it doesn't do it as well for me as the Denali. So it's just something that I kind of noticed between both of the trucks. And then still the camera mirror with the truck. And then you guys can see sunroof as well. And then power sliding window. And then darker colored headliner. And then I do have the window sticker here that I'm going to show in this video. Like I said, sticker price is the same with both the trucks. I just didn't have a window sticker for the Denali at the time of filming that particular truck. But now I've figured out how to get window stickers even if it's not on the trucks. So you guys can see here with the total price there off to the side that I'll show in a second, $71,000. Both sticker for about $71,000. And so here's the deal with both of the trucks is it's really going to come down to personal preference with exterior aesthetics, right? Whether you prefer the Chevy or the GMC. With my, personal opinion, I think that the GMC has a better looking front end. I think the Chevy looks better from the side, and then the rear, I think that it's equal in my personal opinion. And then towing payload, all that's going to be identical because they're the same truck. From an interior perspective, right, the High Country is completely different because it has that blue interior, which is very unique. Some of you might not like it, but I think it just basically makes the truck feel a little bit more special. And then with the Denali, there's some nicer elements, right? The dash looks a little bit nicer, and the stop-start button. There's just a few elements that look just a little bit more upscale. But for the most part, right, the trucks have the same exact features at the same price. They're the same truck. Just two different badges on the exterior. And so I'm not going to pick a winner for today's video because it comes down to personal preference. But what I will say is GMC is no longer more expensive for the same truck as Chevy is at this point, because you guys just saw with this video that we had basically the same exact truck with the same options and very similar, interiors from a quality perspective, same price. So you basically are going to have to pick based on which one you like the looks of more at this point.